Easy Sports Talk. It is Javon and Ed. He is Ed Smith. He played professional baseball and he played in the National Football League for that first Super Bowl bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. I am an MC, an entrepreneur. I do a little bit of everything. How you living, man?
Hey man, we're getting closer to football season and fantasy football. And it's the day of the Little League World Series. So all is good in my world, bro.
Yeah,
It's a
always
good,
good
it's a
in your
good day.
world. Always
It's a
good in
beautiful
your
day in the neighborhood.
world. All right, so got a couple things. This might be a dry, shrunken version of our pod, which we do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Here, tell a friend about what we have going on. Also, you can make easysportstalk.com a part of your routine. And every Saturday from 1 to 3 Eastern, we have our radio show on SportsMap Radio. Go to sportsmapradio.com and you can download the app and all that good stuff. I know we had some issues the early part of Saturday of our show in terms of some people getting online, but it was cleared up because I know my wife was listening to it on the app, and so all that stuff. So sportsmapradio.com, keep us in your hip pocket and listen wherever you can. So we do appreciate it. And then also we have Believe in the Arizona Cardinals as well. That's BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals as well. And so let's get into it, man. All right. I got a couple things. One is Harden and the way that
Scorched
I put it.
earth, bro.
What was that?
Scorched
Scorched
earth,
earth.
bro.
Yes, Harden and guys like Harden. And so this is what I mean by that. I want to get your thoughts on the Harden thing, but before we get into, for those who don't know, real quick, Harden plays for of course, the Philadelphia 76ers. He opted into his contract earlier this offseason, and so he expressed that he wants to be traded to the Clippers. Okay, gotcha. Now, because of that, the Philadelphia 76ers decided to try to shop him to, of course, the Clippers. Now, of course, the Clippers, knowing that they have all the leverage in the world, since he only wants to go to one team, so they ask him for the moon in order to be able, they're really trying to get over on the 76ers to make a long story short. And so just over this past weekend, 76ers let it be known, we're not doing this no more. We're not shopping doing no more. We're not looking for a trade. We look forward to the season with Harden. We're gonna do what we do. Harden, who's over in China doing some marketing and promotional tour, lets it be known that nah, man, I'll never play for that liar Daryl Morey, who's the general manager and president of the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I want your thoughts on this issue, but here's my little rant. So bear with me for a moment. I was listening to the radio, listening to some national shows the last few days, especially since that announcement. And what I hear is these guys like Harden type of argument. And I think it's very flawed. And so here's what I mean. There are callers that will call in, and a couple of the hosts that I heard say, that's why I don't watch the NBA, because of guys like Harden. I don't watch it because they want to go from this team to this team and this team and that team, and they only want to go where they want to go. It's a flawed argument, and I'll tell you why. Because there are approximately, during the course of an NBA season, there are 450 players that play on an NBA team for NBA teams, right? So that's approximately. Some, they can have up to 15 players, some just only get 12, some teams carry 12. It just depends. So the ebb and flow of a season, about approximately 450 players. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Andy. You can feel free to let me know. The players that might be the headaches, the ones that never seem to be satisfied no matter where they go, I got a little list, and they're not all created equal. Kyrie Irving, LeBron, and LeBron is not the dude that always he takes advantage of his contract situation being up and bounces somewhere else to have that scorched earth situation. So it's different. KD, Harden, Dame to a lesser extent, Kawhi, and not really even in that mode. Ja Morant, but that's only because he just can't seem to keep guns in his pocket as opposed to flashing them. And Zion, because he just can't seem to keep himself out of the news because of his weight fluctuation. Now, maybe there are one or two others. I don't know. Let's say there were 10. Let's say there were 10 out of 450 players. That's 2.2% of the league that you might say, I can't stand insert player here because he's never satisfied. And that makes you say, nah, I'm not going to watch this entire league. I think maybe there are other reasons that you don't want to watch the league, but using that as your reason, I I I find a flaw in that. If Harden was on my team, I would not want him on my team because he is never satisfied, never ever ever ever. And the fact that teams will continue to try to trade for him and just sign him when he went to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn thought we got the answer for him, and a few months later he said, "Nah, deuces, I don't even want to be here. I want to go somewhere else. Send me here, send me there." But the number of players that really do that are so small, and to use that as the reason why you don't watch the NBA, I think that's now if you don't like it because as you like to say, it's an 82 game preseason, that's one thing. But to use that as your rationale, that for some reason is really starting to frustrate me because we don't mind in other sports where if owners have the opportunity to say, nah, in the NFL is really the only league that can really do this, to say, nah, you played well last year, you're still at good quality, but we're gonna cut you and we're gonna do what we want to do. I just have a problem with the guys like Harden argument when there are very few of those type of guys.
Well, I mean, you make a great point, and my observation is for those people that are making that statement, they don't want. They're looking for an excuse or a reason not to watch the NBA, and that's just more fuel for their argument. I was looking up some quotes, and one of them was, "Don't let actions of a few determine the way you feel about an entire group." And
Yeah.
I'll read the last part of this, which remember, not all Germans were Nazis. You know,
Right. Right.
it's like you
Right.
can't, if you're looking for a reason to hate, then I mean, you can just say, well, I don't like teams that wear red. I'm sick and tired of, you'll come up with any reason to make your argument valid. And that's, to me, you bring up a great point. There's so many good players in the league. Um, but we do know that minority sometimes rules the majority,
Mm-hmm.
meaning it only takes one or two bad apples to sour whatever group or on an entire situation. So anybody who's me personally, I'm just not a Harden fan. It would never,
Yeah.
like, I get really excited once playoff basketball comes around because I love playoff basketball. I'm not a fan of the 82. I will peek in every now and then, but you can't deny me the fact that I love playoff basketball. But for me, I'm not a Harden fan. I would not go out of my way to watch a Harden game because, one, I think his style of basketball stinks. It's dribble, 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 shoot.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of weaseling your way out of situations. You fought to get to here from
Yeah.
another spot. Think
Yeah.
about what he's done. So for me, it's like he's just a bad dude overall. Now think about this too, Jay. He had the option to opt out of his contract. So he
Yes.
would have been a free agent and could have went wherever he wanted, whenever he wanted. You know why he did it? Was he wanted that money for this last year, and then he
Mm-hmm.
wanted to hold the team hostage. Well, if I'm coming, I'm only coming for a year, so you have to give me the extension. Rather than I'm coming, I'm a free agent, I'm starting out at zero. What you gonna give me?
Yeah.
Because now we have to pay you on your merits. Because a lot of teams are looking, you're like 30 some odd years old, you never come in shape, you're a bad example for our young talent. Why would we want, now there are a couple situations like the Clippers, we perfect for them because they got a bunch of old heads over there already. So you're not taking them over there to, to basically warp the minds of your young talent. Why would you? Because there was all the stuff about, well, he wants to go back to Houston. Houston is a team that has got a bunch of young dudes that are trying to build from the bottom up. Why would you bring Harden over there? So it's like, you got a bunch of dudes that are in shape. Why would you bring a dude that's going to come over there with the mentality of, hey, I'll just come to camp however I want, and then I'll just work my way into shape? It's
Yeah.
like inviting a fat dude to fat camp. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm
Yeah.
saying, like,
Yeah.
the leader of fat camp.
Yeah.
You want somebody who's in shape to come in to teach the
Yeah.
young dudes how to get in shape.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going off on a tangent, but yeah, you are exactly right with your soliloquy. You like
Yeah.
that, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
of the rant that people are. It's just an excuse for them to why they don't want to. Or and here's the thing too, Jay. There's a whole bunch of people with that melatonin playing this game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to figure out a reason to hate,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's another reason to hate. Yeah, So
I didn't see when what is it, my man from the offensive lineman from for the Cowboys. I didn't see people saying that's why I don't watch football no more because they holding out for more money. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying it's interesting how that thing work. And with Harden though, that is the epitome of that dude. If I found out that Harden was coming to the Lakers, I I would just throw my hands up. I would still watch the
mm,
games, but I'm thinking, oh, it's only a matter of time before it implodes, before it explodes, before it all falls down. Word to a really good Kanye West song, but goodness gracious, because he is never satisfied. And if you don't realize, if you were the 76ers with Daryl Morey because he had a positive relationship with him in Houston, but you saw how he acted in Houston when he didn't want to be there no more, and how, as you mentioned, he came out of shape. That man was just he packing on the pounds and not even tripping. Then he goes somewhere else, and all of a sudden he in shape. How that work? What that do?
I'm trying to figure out what Daryl Morey what his issue is. I mean, that's you talking about loving somebody who don't love you. I mean, golly, that's a bad relationship right there, bro.
Oh
I
my
mean, fool me
goodness.
once, shame on you.
Oh
Fool
my
me three
goodness.
times, shame on me. Dang. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, everywhere you go.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. So easy sports talk. So one other thing, because I want to amend it a little bit. That Michael Oher story. It's an interesting thing. Michael Oher, if you don't know, Michael Oher comes out because he had a book a few years ago where I think he mentioned the same type of things where he talked about some of these issues here, but he mentioned that the whole situation, because if you remember seeing The Blind Side, there was a movie on him being taken in by a white family, and the family they love him up, and he excels in sports and all this thing. A lot of flourishes and liberties that were taken there, but he's mad because he's saying that he didn't get the right amount of money, this, that, and the other, and that it was all a sham, so to speak, and acting like as if he didn't know. When actually, after he made those claims, I think the Tuies, or I know I mispronounced their name, but they came out and said, no, we got proof, we got facts, dog. You knew everything that was going on. You knew we put that the same amount of money in our accounts, in your accounts too. We held it so that way you wouldn't be silly and spending all that money at one time because he was trying to ball out of control. It is crazy what money will do, and when people will the awareness that they will try to raise, especially when, and I just found this out today. Did you know he has a new book coming out?
I didn't know that until I read up on it. Yeah.
Now it makes sense, right? Now we're trying to
Yeah.
make this noise because now I'm trying to have a new book come out. Your thoughts on that whole thing, because he's making a fool of himself.
Yeah. Can I and I'm gonna give you a fact and you're gonna be like, what? You know how big of a movie aficionado I am, right?
Yes,
You see the wall collection. I
I do.
officially have 1,058 movies on the wall, and some DVD, VHS and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm movie aficionado.
Yes.
I have never seen that movie, The Blind Side. Now I'm being
Okay.
perfectly honest with you. I've never seen it, and the reason I've never seen it is because I didn't like the whole premise of
Yeah.
this family of persuasion. They
Yes.
rescue this poor black kid, and the whole Sandra Bullock walking on the field, and this is how you do it. But I didn't like that whole premise.
Yeah. Yeah. But
And
we've seen that
then
type of movie over and over. That's why I stopped
over and
watching
over,
movies like
yeah,
that. It could. I've heard comedians talk about this. It could be a rowing team. What happens? Black kid wants to be part of a rowing team, but everybody on the rowing team is white. So then they don't want him to be a part of it. So then he has to keep on pushing. Then he wins somebody over, and one of the people on the team takes him under the wing, and then they win. I mean, come on, Sean.
thank
I
you,
get
bro.
sick of that formula, man.
Oh my goodness, it's like the hey, you watch a horror movie. Who's the first that's going to be killed? Who's the first one's going to be out? You see
Yeah,
that
man.
one person of
Yeah,
military is like, well, he ain't going to be lasting long in this one, and it's the same thing with that movie. I just didn't like the premise of it.
yeah,
And then, and I stayed close to it, even though I'd never watched the movie, because early on I did hear, and I know this about movies, everything is over dramatized. If they were to make a movie about my life, all of a sudden I would have been catching the pass in the Super Bowl, and we won, and
Yeah.
and so I know there's exaggeration there. And from what I understand, he had issues with the movie and some of its content a long time ago. He is now the key is, Michael, if you're going to say it now, you should have been saying it all the way back then. These
Yeah, man.
allegations and stuff. So now it makes him look petty, and especially if they've got this proof and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm not necessarily getting into it on either side. You know what I want to do? I want to get my popcorn, and this is what I want to watch. I want to watch both these sides make fools and asses of themselves. So that's what I'm entertained about. I'll never watch that movie, but I'm definitely going to watch this stuff that they're going, because I'm interested to see who is telling what, now, because here's the thing, Jay. Now, when you get both sides turn on each other, and because of the money,
you do love drama.
Now is when you get I'm waiting for Michael Oher 2, The Blindsided, or something like that coming out.
Oh man,
The Blind Side 2. He didn't protect my backside, or what. I'm waiting for that part 2 to come out where the real story is told, and I want to hear the stories that maybe nobody ever wanted us to hear from both sides. But like I said, he's making a little bit of an ass of himself, and the family probably did take liberties. Who knows? We'll find out when the dirt all rises. But I never got into that movie from the very beginning.
Real quick before we head out of here, it is always interesting in an argument where somebody makes a claim that seems so damning against the other party, and then the other party just simply says, and I don't know if this is the case, it could be, but just in general, the other party says, "Oh, well, let's show everybody then, because I got fruit, I got facts. Come on, man." And then the person that makes the claim might say, "All right, man, I don't even want to talk about it no more. I'm just saying, man, just next time, next time. I mean, we ain't even got to get into all that."
Well,
and then
real quick, I think you even put in one of our notes. Supposedly, he went after them for 15 mil, tried to strong arm them. So that's all kind of allegations. We're gonna find out. That's the juicy stuff, man. It's amazing how money can turn people, your family, your friends. And this is the age old, money, the root of all evil, man, can turn, brother against brother, So
this is true. This is true. So as we head out of here again, so we do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Make sure you tell a friend about what we have going on here with Easy Sports Talk Podcast. And then also Saturdays from 1 to 3 Eastern, Easy Sports Talk radio show on SportsMap Radio. And we could give you all the different cities that we're in, but more specifically, just go to sportsmapradio.com. You can listen from the website, or you can download the app, whether Android or Apple. And lastly, make sure you check out Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast. That's BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals podcast that we do. Find it wherever you find your podcast. Anything you want to say before we head out of here, Mike?
Now I'm just excited about the path we're on. We're getting ready to get into our busy season, man, and enjoy the ride. We're get ready to get it in all the way through to February with this football season.
Yes, sir. And so, as we always like to say around this time, you can